Can you believe it? We've been playing computer games for nearly 40 years. It used to be a guy thing, but now girls and boys of all ages are hooked. In fact, the average age for a gamer is 33, and now we're spending more on computer games than CDs and DVDs.
Britain is one of the biggest games manufacturers in the world, and a lot of that success started right here in the East Midlands back in the 80s.
The East Midlands were there at the beginning, so they'll be there right at the end of the timeline in terms of games development and design.
Today's best-selling computer games have their origins in real-life war games developed in the 1950s during the Cold War. But it wasn't until the mid-1970s that families got to have a go with Pong. Two brothers, Tim and Chris Stamper, started their video games business Rare in Ashby-de-la-Zouch in Leicestershire in the 1980s. Their business really took off. The Japanese games giant Nintendo asked them to develop this now famous gorilla, the star of the hit game Donkey Kong Country. It was these early games like Space Invaders which inspired the young designer Toby Gard. He lives in California now, but his first job was with Core Design in Derby, where he revolutionised the idea of the American male games hero.
If we was to make a character that was completely the opposite of all of those things, it would stand out from the crowd. The first really weird moment for me was that Christmas and being in the games shop and seeing the queue of people in front of me going to the counter, and lots of them holding Tomb Raider in their hands.
Tomb Raider was made into a film in 2003, starring Angelina Jolie, one of Hollywood's highest-paid actresses. But years before that, a care worker and an Amdram actress from Ilkeston in Derbyshire gave us her version of Lara Croft. She was the voice of Lara on some of the early Tomb Raider games.
Pardon me, if that was just your way of trying the doors for me. They're not anymore, so after you.
But Judith wasn't allowed to tell anyone.
They wanted this big mystery thing about her, which I found it hard because I wanted to tell, I'm Lara Croft, you know, I wanted to tell everybody, but of course I couldn't, and it was in my contract, so I couldn't. But I did tell my son. So, you know, I used to get his friends coming round after school and saying, you know, can we come round and see your mum? Will she say some things for us? Pardon me, if that was just your way of trying the doors for me.
Big-budget games need talented designers. At Monumental Games in Nottingham, a whole team is working on Football Superstars. It's a new online game that you can play at any time and with anyone you like. And there's plenty of action off the pitch too.
We've incorporated a full lifestyle world as well, so when you're not playing football you can socialise with your friends or make new friends or acquaintances from anywhere around the world, buy clothes, visit the gym, bars or nightclubs.
I want to score a goal. Woohoo!
It's great fun, and I don't even like football, but I could see myself getting addicted to this. Professor Mark Griffiths knows a thing or two about addiction to technology. He's spent 20 years studying it.
I've come across people, because of where they are in their lives, so for instance I had a university graduate who was unemployed, had no partner, no children, and every day would get up at 8 o'clock and play EverQuest basically till he went to sleep at night. Now the thing about it, there was no negative detrimental effects in his life, but of course when there was actually something more important in his life, like a girlfriend, like a job, the playing just completely stopped.
This is an exercise that tests some of the aptitudes you need to be a Royal Navy pilot. It looks easy, doesn't it?
The military use computer game simulations to train their recruits. It's a fun way to learn very serious skills.
The Army and the Navy actually go to video arcades and say to people, do you want to play some really good games? You know, in terms of recruitment strategy, what you'll find is that in the Army, for instance, they train their helicopter pilots, their airline pilots, their gunners, they use, you know, simulated games. That's the great thing about video games.
So, as gaming technology moves beyond just entertainment, the need for skilled games designers and programmers is increasing too.
We are one of a handful of courses that are offering games development in the East Midlands, and I think the types of students that are coming through Confetti at the moment really do have some very key skills that game developers and designers are looking for.
We've got loads of games companies only from the East Midlands and everything, and obviously this makes it easier for us to get work experience and everything, so they're very much at the forefront of our movement.
The games industry is doing really, really well. They can't get enough staff at the moment, and we're hoping to be able to produce students that will be able to walk straight into a job.
Enthusiasts from Nottingham Trent University have set up a national archive of some of the best video games in history.
It's an attempt to preserve the history of this fastest growing creative industry in the world. You know, we've lost a lot of early cinema, we've lost a lot of early television, and this is an opportunity to not let that happen.
So the games may be legendary, but what about those early pioneers? Did they reap the rewards?
I've got £1,500 for each game, and I think I'm right, and I think I read somewhere that I think they made about 22 million on Tomb 2 and about the same, if not more, on Tomb 3. But saying that, I had a fantastic time doing it. I really did enjoy it, and I learnt a lot, and, you know, great thing to have in my life.